Hello and welcome to the first Newsnet May 2020 general election interview. Today we're sitting down with CM Raiders of the United WolvHaven Party and Interim Prime Minister. Hello, CM Raiders.
For having me on Newsnet today.
So first of all, would you like to present yourself really quickly?
Okay, so I'm CM Raiders. I am currently the interim prime minister for United WolvHaven as of now until the next term. And I'm also the new leader, and with United WolvHaven, we'll be looking to have a lot of seats, a majority of seats next election. And yes, that's what we're planning.
We're going to go over your manifesto, but first I'll have to ask you a question regarding with United WolvHaven voting in an internal party motion to remove Mopsy Studios, who was the former party leader, former prime minister as well, which eventually led to the calling of the snap election. What do you have to say about that? The party doesn't seem really united, does it?
Well, actually, I would say the contrary. We were all united in sort of voting against Mopsy, as stated by Grass Jelly. There
I
was
think that
a
that rather sounds
oh,
cynical, doesn't it? United
let me
against your
explain.
leader.
Okay. So if I were to explain, there was a sort of general sentiment within the party that we felt a sort of oppression under his leadership, and there was sort of familiarity that we lost um, while under his leadership, and also a general dissatisfaction with the way he handled things. He'd often ignore certain conflicts, and with our confidence and supply partner, National Order, sometimes he would antagonize them, even though we're supposed to be in confidence of supply. And often he would answer to nobody except for himself. And before, there have been some calls for him to sort of step down from the leader. This motion that we made of removing him as the leader, it doesn't come just as a spontaneous thing. Um, it comes from a building up of dissatisfaction, and um, as in the results that were um, stated by Grass Jelly, we had 12 ayes to 1 no. So we're very united in our opinion to vote Mopsy as to unvote him as the leader, and yeah.
Uh, he claimed in his press statement when he resigned that there was no chance for a debate for him to defend himself. What do you say about that?
Well, what I want to say is that if there was no chance to sort of debate, he could have asked for one. We weren't stopping him, and so he could have asked. He did not, and instead he didn't say anything actually, and we gave him a reasonable and adequate amount of time to contest the motion, which was 24 hours. And even if he was sleeping during the time that the motion was posted, he could have easily said, "No, I would like some time to debate."
Okay, let's move on to your manifesto. Just as a bit of background, United WolvHaven was formed from a merger of Ford WolvHaven and the Center, which had dominated WolvHaven politics for the past 2 or so years. Let's go through your manifesto very quickly. Let's talk about infrastructure. What are your plans for this coming term?
Okay, so in terms of infrastructure, we did have a lot going from last term. So we had the Ministry for Infrastructure established, which is currently headed by Baymax, and with that ministry, we managed to build the western part of the One North line, which added 13 stations to Gardelia, so that allows a lot more uh, claiming for players, and we also had the admin shop implementation, which is connected to the economy, and the removal of the jobs plugin. So to answer your question, we do have some things planned. For the Ministry for Infrastructure, we are planning to have the construction of the Gardelia Westlandia Airport started, which will evidently result in some more transport methods. And we're also planning for more of the Southern Main Line to be built. In particular, the circular section will be completed. And we're also looking to implement a minimum bid system to prevent undercutting and ensure that the builders get enough of their pay.
Let's move on to Gardelia very quickly. We might be cut off by a commercial break halfway through, but what are your plans? I see in your manifesto, for example, that they're developing on the warps in Gardelia bill, the WIG bill proposed by EZO. You also have the Gardelia Improvement and Maintenance Program. Could you explain those two bills very quickly?
So, the warp implementation in Gardelia Bill, which is affectionately called the WIG Bill, it basically aims to implement a new plugin that will allow for warps that can be bought by citizens, and it'll be a bit less hassle for the staff. And we're hoping that to add on to the warp implementation in Gardelia Bill, we want to develop road infrastructure in Gardelia. For example, we can have more bus routes so that claims that don't have a mainline connection, for example, they're a bit underserved by transportation. They're able to have a connection via a bus route, for example. And we're also planning to include a subsidy program to encourage the usage of this plugin that will be implemented. And the subsidy will be a percentage of total warp fees that will be subsidized depending on the claim's level of isolation. So if the claim is not as is a bit underserved by the current transport we have in Gardelia, it will be eligible for more subsidies. And to talk about the Gardelia Improvement and Maintenance Program, we are looking for we're basically looking to establish a sort of group that is tasked with fixing, for example, the train cores in Gardelia mainline stations, and a general maintenance of the main lines, as some of the current main lines could do with a little bit of fixing or whatnot. Some problems might arise, and that's why we want to establish a group for this, which is the Gardelia Improvement and Maintenance Program.
For that, we'll be back after a quick break.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform.
United WolvHaven. Why should you vote for us? Here's a rundown on what we did. In Gardelia, more infrastructure was built, enabling for better transport methods and land for claiming. economy stabilization with added methods to combat inflation, such as the admin shop and the removal of excess money. And the purchase of real estate is now easier in Fourth Haven. We've done that, so here's what we've got planned. More infrastructure and support will be built. Further support of Fourth Haven with the economy, such as changing certain bus fares and adjusting admin shop prices. Rewards for those who build in Fifth Haven. The revamping of Pangea and related worlds. As well, more freedom of speech concerning other servers. These are our plans. What are you going to do? You can help us make this happen. Choose the better path and vote United WolvHaven. Bruh.
Right, welcome back. We're still with the United WolvHaven member and interim Prime Minister CM Raiders here in the studio. Let's move on to Fourth Haven. You're planning some development, some improvements to Fourth Haven, even though WolvHaven is slowly moving towards the new world, Fifth Haven. Can you explain that?
That's true. We are keeping our aim onto Fifth Haven, but we won't be forgetting Fourth Haven. So I'd like to reiterate, last term, again, we had a few of, it was more based on the economy, what we've done for WolvHaven City. So we had the admin shop implemented, the metro payment adjustment bill, and the advanced region market bill. So that will be easier for players to purchase property when it is implemented. So for what we've got in what we've got planned, we have we will continue to rebalance the economy. There will be a bit more on that when we talk about more on the economy. And specifically for WolvHaven City, we're looking to adjust the bus fares for more high demand routes, since a lot of people have been saying that, wow, these bus route fares they're pretty expensive. Why would you want to take the bus when you could take the metro? It's much cheaper, right? So we're looking to adjust the fares for the buses, since recently, due to 1.13.2 update to the server, taking the metro is a bit laggy and a lot of the automatic lines can't be turned on. So as an alternative to riding the metro for now, or who knows how long the lag and TPS issue will persist, we're looking to have select bus routes have their fares adjusted to be much cheaper.
Moving quickly, we're going to run out of time pretty soon. Speaking of Fifth Haven, there was a bill that was proposed last term in Parliament, the Fifth Haven Building/Rewards Contribution Bill, which ran into a bit of controversy, notably from Blue Jay Giant Noob, who's running with EEE this election, about architects being paid a lot. Have there been any changes because the bill has been withdrawn, and are there any changes that are going to be made when it's going to be reproposed next term if you are indeed elected?
Yeah, so what we're looking to do is improve on the rubric, as President Silverwolf did mention and asked us to improve on. So we want to keep progressing with this increased development in Fifth Haven, and when we come out with this bill next term, hopefully that will further along the progressiveness and development of Fifth Haven. And, well, to put it simply, we want to make it even better.
Moving on to Pangea, what's United WolvHaven's opinion on a possible Pangea reset? I see that you've mentioned the revamped Pangea bill in your manifesto. Could you detail that very quickly, please?
Okay, so the revamped Pangea bill, it was originally a bill made by Turbo Chan, who was originally not a member of United WolvHaven, but is now a member of United WolvHaven due to their uh, proactiveness and respectableness in the community. We've decided that, the revamped Pangea bill does quite align with our current ambitions for Pangea, and basically, we know that the upcoming updates to Minecraft will result in Pangea being outdated, and the need for newer blocks and the need for regeneration of the current Pangea world it's there, and the currently a lot of people can agree that spawn for Pangea is quite cluttered and messy. So um, we are looking to at least declutter that if we are not resetting the Pangea world for now. And we also want to reset the Neverworld, as it is also quite messy, according to some people as well. And we want to we want to implement the End World, which is currently not available for players. But if by making this available, we can allow players to get new blocks such as the End World, which is quite nice for building.
Speaking of continuing with your manifesto, the next point is economic reform. Your manifesto doesn't detail anything greatly planned for next term, but only achievements from this term. What do you say about that?
To be fair, we do have a lot of plans. We did have a lot of plans last term for adjusting the economy, and they were rather successful, such as the remove bill, the removal of excess money from the overinflated virtual economy bill, and the metro adjustment payment bill, as well as the aforementioned admin shop. We've been successfully decreasing inflation and increasing the value of the WolvHaven dollar. And right now, we're looking to focus on maintaining more stability, and we're trying to oversee the continued implementation of the admin shop, and we'll look to adjust prices as time goes on with player trends and whatnot. And yes, so we are looking to continue with our stabilized economy plans.
Just very quickly, we have less than a minute left on this. Protecting our borders, that's your last point of the manifesto. Uh, Changes to the Background Checks Act are in the plans, apparently. Can you give us some information on that and why it's necessary?
Actually, it's more of it's not really that. It's more of allowing players to sort of it's more we were focusing on WolvHaven's advertising policies, and a lot of people do complain about the strictness of advertising in WolvHaven, and we want to move it to the standard that other servers have taken, which we plan to do by making advertising its own offense, and by doing so, um, better defined it, and we want to allow players to be able to talk about positive experiences that they've had in the other servers. They could say, "Oh, I've had a very nice experience on this server," and just a nice conversation that you could have just by mentioning the server, and it won't be penalized in the future. That's what we want, to put it simply.
Thank you very much for joining us, CM Writers from the United WolvHaven Party.
Thank you.